Have you ever been in this situation before? You heard of the Warframe Sevagoth and that his abilities scale up to level cap. Decided to try him for boy Cascade in a public match or in a group, and it went smoothly. But then you tried solo and it seems like everything started to fall apart. If this is your case, don't worry, you're not alone in that. So why is boy Cascade solo with Sevagoth completely different from a group? Well, this is mainly due to a glaring issue on Cascade. When any of Sevagoth's abilities are up, including the infamous Roar, your Warframe will be exposed to any damage while using the operator. This is not an issue for the majority of the game, but in boy Cascade, it quickly becomes a huge problem. After reaching high enough levels, enemies will deal so much damage that they will instantly pull you out of your operator and into your Warframe with no shields and almost no health. And if you don't react in time, they will take you down and send you into his self-revive passive. It's unaimable, by the way. There are a few ways you can keep your Warframe protected while trying to clean the exolizers with your operator. The most popular choice is the Shade Sentinel or the Hura's Cobra. They can keep your Warframe invisible and go fine for the most part, until these guys decide to throw a wrench in our mission. However, there's another more interesting solution if you're interested, and it involves Sevagoth's most underrated ability, the Shadow. Just like Sevagoth, his Shadow also comes with its own set of abilities, but for today we will focus mainly on the first one, Embrace. Embrace might not seem great at first glance. It's an ability that pulls enemies in front of you and groups them up, but the devil's in the details. Do you notice this orange symbol on the pull enemies? It means you are able to use a finisher on them, more specifically, a ground finisher. Some of you may be thinking this is useless, since the Shadow is unable to perform finishers, to which I ask, why are you staying in the Shadow? Unlike Shade, Arcane Trickery allows you to use your weapons without breaking stealth. Not only that, but it also helps you to build stacks easily from melee crescendo. Ever since I realized you can do this, I began to adore Arcane Trickery for boy Cascade, and the uninterrupted stealth is something very appreciated. Here's a breakdown of how I play this build. When you begin the mission, your priority is to obtain the Shadow as soon as possible, collecting the souls from your enemies afflicted with Sevagoth's first or second ability. Once we unlock the Shadow, we jump into it, then pull the enemies towards you using its first ability. Go back into Sevagoth to perform a ground finisher, and you're set. We have 30 seconds of uninterrupted invisibility for anything that we need. As for the Warframe, I subsume Silence over Glue. Silence prevents the carrying grenades from ever placing the red bubbles. These are your worst enemy because they completely remove the Shadow, which is essential for our build and the self-revive passive. As a bonus, Silence Augment, Savage Silence, increases our finisher damage, which synergizes incredibly well for our build. Combined with Sevagoth's first augment, Shadow Haze, gives us high amounts of critical damage, killing max armor enemies even at level cap. Here's the summary of my Sevagoth build. Shield Getting is usually advised for level cap, useful for short periods of time when you're cloaked with Arcane Trickery. Flow is here to help with energy reserves, and it enables purple crit charge. Duration is used to keep uptime on Silence. Range is just for comfort, and some strength is helpful to increase the damage from our augments, but too much is not needed either. The secondary arcane is a flex slot. You can use Arcane Energize if you have energy issues, or Mold Augmented and Arcane Crepuscular for higher damage output. For the Shadow, range is mandatory to constantly pull a large amount of enemies. Strength is not needed since we will never cast its third ability, so you can use Overextended with no issues. Natural Talent is a sleeping pick on Shadow, combined with casting speed charge makes hot swapping between Sevagoth and Shadow much better. Plus, it benefits our self-revive passive in case that we made a mistake. With enough casting speed, you're able to collect the 5 souls you need before the invulnerability runs out. This, in my experience, has been better than any other survivability you can put on Shadow after Rolling Gore. You can add flow to benefit from purple shards too, but this alone will not get your shadow to 500 max energy. You will still need to use a Tall Force blue shard as well to meet that threshold. The shadow is immune to knockdowns, so Prime Shard food is not necessary, but instead, we will use the Almighty Preparation, making the shadow always spawn with full energy. Because we are constantly swapping forms, my claws are built for single target heavy attacks, like Traxxas and Acolytes. Unlike popular belief, the claws are still very strong, even without Forma. For demonstration, this is me killing a level cap Trax with 0 Forma on the claws and using the Faces primer. It is not about filling all slots, but rather using the right mods. Ready Steel is also an amazing aura for the shadow. By using the claws instead of nuking on the Traxxas, we can preserve much more energy in case of emergencies. Speaking of, are we ever going to use a 2-1 combo? Well, rarely. There are only 2 instances where I felt the need to use Salve and Reap. Case number 1, if a Trax has already been trying to capture an Exolizer for a while, I applied 10 stacks of bio rapidly with the Compressa, then Salve and Reap. In case number 2, an Asian Protector was outside my silence range, so it applied Overguard to nearby enemies. I used the detonation to remove the Overguard so I can grab them again with Embrace. For my loadout, I'm using the Miter to deal quickly with the Northfire bubbles, the Compressa to prime Traxxas, and the Inodem for finishers thanks to its unique Incarnon perk. And that's it. Thank you everyone that has watched this far. I hope this has given you a new perspective of my favorite Warframe. I know this is not the usual nuke build for him, but I wanted to share something that I always love about him. The shadow pulling obscure, yet fun mechanics. He's more than just a press 2 and 1 to win, but ever since this abomination came out, his identity has been butchered by the community, giving him an unfair reputation for anyone that decides to actually learn him. Anyways, I'm planning to release more videos in the future related to this Warframe, debunking tons of myths and misinformation, then ending it with a long, in-depth Bible guide. So if you're interested, please leave a like to let me know. Once again, thank you all for watching and have a good one, guys.